Hello everyone, hope you all well. I wanted to continue on my legend series, and today I wanted to give the only player in cricket history to score more than 10,000 runs in one day internationals and take more than 300 wickets in one day internationals, and someone who revolutionized the one day batting, especially in the opening stages, and who was one of the main reasons why Sri Lanka won that 1996 World Cup undefeated as well. I'm talking about Sanath Jayasuriya of Sri Lanka. He was born 30th June 1969 in Sri Lanka, and he is widely regarded as one of the greatest all-rounders in one-day cricket, especially, and certainly as one of the most destructive, aggressive opening batsmen in the history of cricket, who really changed the way people thought about how batting should be at the start of the innings, with the field restrictions in mid 90s that started with only two fielders outside in the 15 overs. At that time it was 15 overs. I mean, together with Kalwidarna, he really bludgeoned a lot of bowling attacks, and he was unstoppable in those late 90s. Sorry. And he was also a minister in Sri Lanka after his retirement, and he was a left-handed batsman, as people obviously know, and also a very useful, more than a useful left-arm spinner who was a very intelligent bowler, and he was also a very good fielder. In all, he played 110 Test matches for Sri Lanka, and he scored 6,973 runs, and he scored 14 hundreds, and his highest was 340, which came against India in that record-breaking match where he had that 576 run partnership with the Roshan Mahanama, which was the highest partnership in Test cricket at that time. And that is also the innings where Sri Lanka scored that world record 952 in their batting innings. And he has also taken 98 wickets in Test matches. And in one day matches, he played 445 matches, and he scored 13,430 runs, and he scored 28 hundreds, which is the fourth in the all-time list of one-day hundreds, and his highest was 189. And he also took 323 wickets in one-day internationals, and he also held more than 100 catches. And Sanath Jayasuriya, I mean, everyone will remember how he batted. I mean, he's one of the few players who started hitting square cut sixes in that first 15 overs. He was unstoppable, and he used to really time the ball. He wasn't just an explosive power batter, like he did have a lot of power, but he also had amazing timing. I mean, he has hit a lot of sixes, square cutting, and even but was very good on the pull shot and the pickup shot on the leg side. And he used to hit the ball over the infield for a lot of force, and he was absolutely unstoppable in that 96 World Cup. He also took three important wickets, including Tendulkar's wicket in the 96 semi-finals against India. And he has a lot of world records in his name. I mean, he is the only player, like I said, who has scored more than 10,000 runs and taken more than 300 one-day wickets in one-day internationals. And he's the first, he's the only opening batsman in the history of cricket to score more than 19,000 runs. I mean, as a Test match opener and as a one-day match opener. And he also had the world record for the fastest 50, which came of 17 balls, and it stood for 19 years, that record. And he also held the record at that time for the fastest 100, which came of 48 balls, which was broken by Shahid Afridi when he scored a century in 37 balls, and then by Corey Anderson of New Zealand when he scored in 36 balls. And now the world record is in A.B. de Villiers' name when he scored that famous 100 in just 31 balls. And he is also the first batsman ever in one-day international to score more than 30 runs in an over. He did that twice, and Herschel Gibbs has that record, obviously hitting that six sixes against Netherlands in that 2007 World Cup. And he's also the most successful left-arm spinner in the history of one-day cricket with 323 wickets. And he also has another world record. I mean, he's the only player in the cricket history to score more than 1,000 runs and take more than 25 wickets in World Cup history. The only all-rounder who has done that. And Jayasuriya's batting had such a big influence on the Sri Lankan victories as well. I mean, every time Jayasuriya scored more than 50 runs, Sri Lanka won around 75% or more of their matches, which is a stunning relation with his batting, which shows how much match winner he was for Sri Lanka. And he also captained Sri Lanka in more than 100 Test matches, and I think 38 Test matches as well. And that famous partnership with Roshan Mahanama was 576 runs was a world record then against India. And he also has another world record. I mean, in a two-test match series, he holds the highest number of runs that as a batsman has ever scored in a two-test series, which is 571 runs, which came against India in 1997 in that series where he scored that 340, his highest score, and that is the highest score by a Sri Lankan as well in Test cricket. And in 1996, he was the Wisden leading cricketer of the world, and he was also one of the Wisden cricketers of the year in 1997. And a lot of bowlers have said that it was very difficult to bowl to Jayasuriya the way he batted, and he always had that aggressive approach to batting, and he had this explosive timing and power as well. And he had an amazing eye. I mean, I have to say, absolutely a beautiful hand-eye coordination that he had, and he was a very good left-arm spinner as well, very intelligent bowler. Not a big spinner of the ball, but he was very intelligent bowler and had a very good arm ball. And he also used to go through his overs very quickly. I mean, just like Ravindra Jadeja for India these days. Jayasuriya would finish an over like in 2 minutes or so, 3 minutes. So that also put a lot of pressure on the opposition and the batsman, the way he used to rush through his overs. And I mean, he also held, I mean, at that time, not now, but there was a time when he was the only player in one day history to score more than 150 plus scores. But obviously, Rohit Sharma has scored 3 double centuries in one day cricket, which is a world record now. And Jayasuriya was one of the main reasons why, I mean, also Sri Lanka won that 1996 World Cup. And he started off late 80s. He started playing for Sri Lanka, and he didn't open the batting for Sri Lanka. He was actually more of a spin bowler than a batsman. But in 1993 is when he really kind of started opening the batting. And in the mid 90s, just before the World Cup, is when Kaludarna and Jayasuriya had this habit of really going after the bowling, and that really worked in that 1996 World Cup, where they really bludgeoned bowlers in that first 15 overs. I mean, if you score 270 runs, 280 runs in those times, it was like a winning total, but not against Sri Lanka, because in the first 15 overs they used to get more than 100 runs easily, and that used to put a lot of pressure on the opposition team, because the rest remaining 35 overs you really need like 150 runs. And with maybe 8 to 9 wickets in hand, that wasn't a difficult task. Because in that time, 280 total was like a really match-winning total, and it was very important that first 15 overs how the batsmen batted, and Jayasuriya and Kaludarna really made a big difference the way they batted in those first 15 overs. So there is a lot of world records in Jayasuriya's name, and a lot of people will remember how he was someone who really went after the bowling and who had immaculate timing as well. A lot of world records is in name. I'm just repeating: the only batsman to score more than 10,000 runs and take more than 300 one-day wickets. Most successful left-arm spinner with more than 323 wickets exactly, and also the only player in cricket history to score more than 1,000 runs and take 25 wickets in World Cup history. The most number of runs in a two-test match series, which is 571, which came against India. And someone who did hold the record for the fastest 50 and fastest 100 at a point, which was broken later. And by the way, Sanath Jayasuriya is the only player, I mean the first player in the history of one-day cricket to score more than 10,000 runs with a strike rate of more than 90. I mean, at that time, a strike rate of more than 90 was like massive. I mean, these days, a lot of players have as 90, so some even close to 100. But those are people who haven't really faced too many balls, who probably come down the order. But for an opener to have more than 90% strike rate and to score more than 10,000 runs is an unbelievable achievement. And that was Sanath Jayasuriya, who was one of the most difficult batsmen to bowl to. And once when he was asked about the most toughest bowlers that he ever faced, in order, he said the first he said was Wasim Akram, the second he said was Shane Warne, the third he said was Glenn McGrath, then he said Courtney Walsh, and the fifth was Curtly Ambrose. That's the five most toughest bowlers Jayasuriya rated in order. So that is my video on Sanath Jayasuriya, who is one of the all-time great cricket players in the history, and definitely one of the most powerful, impactful players in the history of a one-day cricket, who absolutely revolutionized the way of batting in the first 10-15 overs, where he made that big impact with Kalivadarna as an opener, and as a left-arm spinner, as an all-rounder, is the only player to have that achievement of more than 10,000 runs and 300 one-day wickets. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I'm sure a lot of people have great memories of Jayasuriya and the way he used to bat. Please take care. God bless you.